All right. Welcome into the Questionable Podcast. You guys got any questions here with the one and only Miko?
What's good, man? See,
What's
it's
up,
better
man?
when you're here. The intro is like way more energetic. Like Gian and I, like it. For those of you guys who don't know, we record this podcast like late, and like I don't have the energy to like do this intro. I don't know how Scotty does it. I don't have the energy to do like a fire intro when you're not here.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment. No, I love the intro, man. It's something that I know what I'm going to say. I know
Mm-hmm.
kind of have an idea. That's kind of easier for me than coming up with stuff on the fly. Actually, that's that
Well,
one.
I mean, it like I said, it sets a tone. It sets a really good tone for the show, and so no,
Anyway,
I appreciate it.
yeah, you guys had a great show last week. Sorry I couldn't be there. Lots going on. But I'm here this week, and Gian is not, but he might hop in. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We'll see. He had some
Yeah,
battery issues,
yeah, a
so
little car trouble. So we're hoping the best for our guy Gian.
yeah. And the family's coming into town, so probably some added stress there as well.
Yeah, man, it's that time of year. It's the holidays. People are going to start. People are
Here it
going on
comes.
vacation. People
Here it
are having
comes.
family coming in. So it's the whole nine.
So anyway, yeah. So welcome in. Please like, follow, subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Head over to questionabletees.com to check out the. I mean, obviously, we're biased, but I still think it's some of the coolest apparel in Detroit. In regards in and around the Lions for sure,
Yeah,
and
no, absolutely.
and the Wings. We're working on a Pistons and Tigers game as well. But right now, yeah, the line stuff is really hitting hard. Speaking of that. We had a big week last week. We got into a store. We talked about this. Shout out to John at Pro Sport Zone. We got to
Yep.
see Rodrigo again. For those that haven't seen it, check out our social Instagram. We're on the mannequins, all fancy. Mannequins, all fancy. 2 mannequins, 4 different locations in the store. We hooked up Rodrigo with his heavyweights. He got custom. John got his heavyweight. Again, shout out to John. Thank you, John. We appreciate you. But yeah, dude, it was crazy.
No, man, it was surreal. Like I obviously I couldn't be there. I was down bad with a little bit of health issues, but
That time of the year.
dude, hitting everybody. But no, it's a huge accomplishment. We don't talk a ton about the apparel stuff, obviously, because we know you guys are here to hear us talk about Lions, and obviously we're going to get to that as well. But we do. We put a lot of effort and work into Scotty specifically because he's main designer.
No, we.
But yeah, but you specifically.
Okay.
We put a lot of work though into coming up with this stuff, not just for ourselves, but because of things that we think that Lions fans would like and the things that they think would be cool. So, yeah, it's a really dope accomplishment to now be in a store. If you're in the Livonia area, I don't know the name of the mall, but like I said, like Scotty said, if you search Pro Sports Zone, you can obviously get directions and drive out there, and you'll see Rodrigo t-shirts, Rodrigo hoodies, and who knows, if this partnership with John goes well, maybe some other stuff that we have will end up in there as well.
Yeah, and also the athletes, right? We're designing for the athletes too. Like
Yeah.
Rodrigo, he loved the design, and we really focused around him. We're working on something special for Mo,
Yeah.
which that is started, Miko. Just so you know, it started. I just tomorrow. I have a couple options that I'm debating, so I'm my own worst critic too. If I sent him to Miko, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, those are both great." But
no, but I think that's the biggest part, right? Like I said, we don't talk about it often, but like that is part of the creative process. Is like not just that it's something that I like or something that Scotty likes, but something that we think the fans would like, and something that like if the players saw it, that they would also be like, "Yo, that's dope. I want that."
Yeah. So again, we don't talk about it a lot. We're gonna shout it out here because we've been doing apparel for we've been doing apparel for a long time, but we started Questionable, last August. So in our first year, we've gotten our stuff on a lot of people: Calvin Johnson, Darren McCarty,
Yeah.
The guys from Wahlberg, on the Entourage guys got it. I mean, we it's all over the place. Rodrigo, so we're just really excited, and we're happy to be in a store, right? Within a year,
Yeah.
It's something we're really proud of. So we just want to shout that out. Now, having said that,
won a game. Man, we going all the way. Baby. We about to celebrate. Why? Because the Lions won a game.
We are going all the way. We are going all the way.
That hasn't felt any more true than it does probably like right now at this climate where it just feels like this team can probably beat anybody. Like it feels like that. Obviously, they're coming off of a tough loss to Buffalo, but like 4 out of 5, the last 5 weeks have been exciting. It's been fun football to watch. And it's another game of just pure domination by the Lions. And from kickoff, it was one of those games where you could literally just kick back and relax. There was never a panic moment. There was never oh no, are they about to like fumble this away or are they going to give this game away? Like it was theirs.
1,000%. And, you know, there's a lot of different ways to take this, right? We're all getting excited, but I think all of us are holding our breath, you know, but I think who is it? Taylor Decker said it last week that like this ain't SOL. No.
Yeah.
Right? Last week he said it and they proved it this week. Like that's like this was a little bit of, in my opinion, I wasn't here last week, but I thought this week was a little bit of a trap game. We should beat them. We could beat them. We're at home. We're both rebuilding, right? Who gets the edge? But we did right off the bat. Like we took it to them. RD, I mean, did we defer? That's the one thing I didn't see on the.
Yeah. So we did.
We dominated right off the bat, and we never looked back. And that, to me, is a sign of a confident team, right? That believes in each other, believes in the coach. Like there was no hesitation from anyone I saw in that entire game. And that's the first time I can ever say that about a Lions game. It was the first time, to your point, Miko, that I could start it out like, okay, like feeling pretty good. And that just kept feeling better. Like, yeah, like we're not going to lose this game. First time in my life I ever thought we're not going to lose the game from like the first half. I don't think I'd say the first quarter, but like the first half, I'm like, okay, we're not losing this game. Even with our third quarter slumps, I go, I don't think we lose this game.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, looking at how the game started, right? I mean, they get a fumble off their first possession, go down, get a touchdown. Jacksonville gets the ball back. They go down, they get a field goal. Okay, 7-3. All right, the game is still early. Then they go down and get another touchdown. And like it was the manner in which they were moving the ball down the field where it was just like, huh. And it just like you like slowly just felt yourself like kind of like reclining back in your chair because like after that, right, Jacksonville punts, field goal, punt, field goal again, trade field goals, another field goal, end of half. Like it was at this moment where it was just like there was nothing to really worry about. You know, the Lions weren't there were a couple scary moments in the first half. Like Christian Kirk got open on some routes that were just like I don't know who's responsible for him. I believe it was like Will Harris a few times. I believe it was Jerry Jacobs a couple times. He got matched up on some safeties, but it's like he is eating them alive.
Yeah, what it looked like he was doing was he was coming across the field, and so like them handing him off, right? Like that was what was a problem in the first half, which we fixed. But him coming across the field were when he got those big chunk plays.
Yeah,
like what we do with Amon-Ra, right? We send him all the way across. Like you send him cutting across, and you hit him over there, and so that's how I saw him getting open. And yeah, he had some big plays, and that was it. But they managed it, right? Like it never felt out of control, right? There's some you're gonna get big plays in the NFL. It's gonna happen. But it never felt like it got out of hand. Like we didn't, like to me, and I don't have the number, but it felt like the tackles were made, right? It's not like he broke tackles and went. Like and I think that's why we hurt a lot of teams. I don't think we mean to. I just think I'm watching this game tonight and like just soft tackles, like Ingram's not going into, like Ingram's going out of bounds. Kamara's going out of bounds. Like nobody's cutting in and going in, right? As Deuce was saying, like, where are you going? Like this is football. Like what, you know? And so these young guys, we got a young team, and I think that that's something to be said for how hard we hit and how we play the game. And as the season's been going, there, as to we have a text chain. In the text chain, it was Dan talking about the defense and bringing it back to basic, right? Sound like they brought it back to basic, and then they're slowly building it up. And it looks like they're all on the same page. I mean, Anzalone and Rodrigo. Anzalone was everywhere. Rodrigo was also everywhere. I mean, our defense was locked in. And Houston, come on. I thought he ripped both of his legs off. I'm sorry.
Yeah, on that sack that he got on Trevor Lawrence, like it was nasty. But I do want to I want to touch on that, because this idea that like the defense is all on the same page, and I want to kind of take people back to when Aubrey Pleasant got fired. Like even us on the show, like we didn't understand it from a personality standpoint. Like Aubrey Pleasant seemed like a great guy. But one thing that was like a reoccurring theme with that defense while he was a part of it was communication issues, specifically in the secondary. A lot of communication issues, and we kind of speculated. I don't want to say like this is definitive, but it definitely feels like there's more credence given to this, that maybe Aubrey Pleasant was going a little rogue with his secondary.
Was that you or John that said that?
I think like John and I both kind of agreed on it, and this idea that like it's, if you're tasked with playing one style of defense, like it was the whole point of like press coverage, right? That coming out of the Miami game, Dan was like the plan was to press at the line, and they didn't do it at all. And so Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle got a lot of free releases, and it was just one of those things where it's like, okay, this is weird. Dan said all week that the plan was to press at the line. They get in the game and they don't press at the line. Why would they not do that if that was like literally the game plan? And the only thing that kind of made sense, because Aubrey Pleasant's firing like followed right after that, was, do you think he probably told them to not press, to play back so they wouldn't get beat deep, even though they still kept getting beat deep?
Maybe.
And the one thing that's been consistent since that game is that this defense has looked a little more in sync. We're not seeing those lapses in coverage on the back end. We're not seeing other players, like we're not seeing the safeties look at each other like, hey, you're supposed to be here and I was supposed to be there. Like you're saying, a lot of those pieces are on the same page schematically.
I think, yeah. So what I see, to your point, is it's one unit. The whole defense is one unit, not the linebackers and not the DBs as two separate units. It feels cohesive. And so maybe that's what it took, right? They had a defensive meeting together, players only, after that as well. I said, we got to get this straight. And since then, I mean, really, they look good.
No, they look really good. I mean, holding a team to 14 points, and Jacksonville, like,
I was worried about their receivers and Trevor. Like, I mean, their offense isn't terrible. Defense is suspect, but their offense is not bad. Depends on which Trevor Lawrence you get, but we got to him, right? We rattled him. We had knockdowns. We were just making him think. Like, so.
Well, and it's a little bit of like, and that's what I was going to say. This game was like a little bit of a perfect storm on the defensive end, right? Because on one hand, as a Lions fan, like, the thing that we're going to champion is that the defense looked great and they were shut down and they played stout. They were delivering hits, all of that stuff. And all of that is very much true. The other side of that coin that is equally true, though, Jacksonville dropped some easy passes. Zay Jones dropped so many, like, yo, you catch that and that's a first down type of play.
Yeah, he was one of our best defenders as well. Like,
right. It's like, and
but
again, I'm not saying you apologize for that, but like that is a part of the game as well, is that it's not like Trevor Lawrence was off. It wasn't like he was like sailing passes or like not hitting guys in stride. Like some of those passes, dudes were just flat out dropping.
Now I want to say, and I wish I could say it's because our DBs hit so hard. I don't think that's the case, but I would love to say that like these guys are flying and want to kill people. And so, I mean, that's part of maybe the scouting. Like, if these guys get you, watch out. You know what I mean? Like, catch it safely. And so maybe there's something to that. I don't know, but I'd love to speculate that. You know, the guys are like, I'm a little tight because I don't want them to, like, looking over my shoulder. Like, where's Kirby at? Is he going to flip me?
Well, and that goes back to Deshaun Elliott setting the tone early with that fumble against ETN
Raked
because
it
like
out. Raked it
just
out.
raked it out, and it was something that you saw the rest of the game. Every time someone caught a pass, like I said, Zay Jones dropped it. Like if you're a Jaguars fan, you're looking at that like hold on to the ball, finish the process. As a Lions fan, though, like we're seeing there, and it's like, dude, look at Jeff like rake the ball out. Like look at Will Harris, look at Jerry Jacobs, like look at these guys like attacking the ball on the way to the ground to like make sure that they're not completing the process. So it's like I said, that's where it's a duality where it's like, yes, it's good for the Lions to be like putting that into practice, being aggressive all the way through the catch process. But I would understand if you're a Jaguars fan where you're just like, dude, like hold on to the ball.
I completely agree. And I think also when we talk about this in younger players getting comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even Jeff Okuda but like being able to do the simple things like making sure you're locking up and tackling, right? Then the next thing is to hit the X button for like punch it out, right? So
Yeah.
they're already in good position enough where the tackle is like impending, like okay, that's happening. Now that I know I've got him. Now I'm gonna go for the ball. It seems like we've reached another level, and that's why we've had turnovers. Like we keep leveling up, right? It's like your defense is getting more and more like skills as they're going like in a video game, right? Like it's
Yeah.
to me, it's like now they're thinking about the turnover. It's not just a tackle, right? For a while, Miko, we're just like, just make the tackle, right? We're focusing on tackling because Dan's like, it's just about tackling. And we had problems with that. Okay, we got that. Now it's
Yeah.
okay. Well, I got the tackle and I know because he's right in front of me. But as I'm going in for the tackle, where's the ball? And that's what these guys are doing. Like Aiden, like I'm in position. Can I catch the ball? Like, right?
Yes. Can I
He's
read and react? Can I
right.
can I can I be a can I play this game at multiple levels, right? Like, because to your point, right, there's a simplicity to it where it's like, hey, do your job, but it is like do your job to completion. So like, if you're tasked with rushing, but then like faking a rush, but then dropping back, like do that. Don't get wide eyed and be like, oh no, I think I can beat this guy, so I'm gonna just rush and I'm gonna forget the other part of my assignment. Like it's really cool to watch this team and see the things that Dan has been pointing out and the things that he's been saying as far as like, hey, do your job, attention to detail, this, that, and the third. And when you watch the game, especially a game like this, where it's like, no, that really happened. Like, there's not a lot of missed assignments. There's not a lot of things to complain about. There's a couple like nitpicky things here and there, but it's literally that. It's nitpicky. If you have a problem, if anybody's getting like on YouTube or on their platform of choice and complaining about anyone that performed in this game, like I think you're kind of losing hindsight of like what happened.
No, you need to check yourself because this was the most complete game the Lions have played in I cannot remember how long.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, and that's kind of really like led by Jared Goff. I mean, on an offensive standpoint, like again, having probably the game of his season. I think it's a toss up. It's a toss up between this one and the Seattle game. Because in the Seattle game he had 4 touchdowns. Now he did throw a pick, but dude still threw 4 touchdowns.
You
Like,
sure you don't want me to play this?
nah, he was a safe driver today. He got his insurance. He called his Allstate guy. He avoided mayhem. Like whatever insurance reference you want to like use.
Did, but I put a lot of that on the O line. Dude was patting the ball with like an hour to throw. Like, where am I going?
Well, and that's first. Let me give him his flowers
Okay,
because I
sorry.
will. I'll double
Sorry.
back to that because I'll double
Sorry.
back to that. But like, no, like this is if you can get this version of Jared Goff every single week, the Lions probably have 3 losses on the
Yeah,
season. Like if
right.
we're being honest, if that version of Jared Goff showed up every single week, this team probably has 3 losses because we definitely know that the defense didn't show up for a few games early on in the season. But it was great. Like I don't think I've ever seen him operate that calmly, that collectively. Like nothing felt forced. Nothing felt like I said, it's a toss up between that Seattle game, but I do think in that Seattle game he had to press at times. He had to make tough plays because he had to match Geno point for point. But this was like just cruise control. I'm gonna sit back here and like you're saying, pat the ball, pat the ball, pat the ball, wait to see if something happens, and if it doesn't, cool, I'm gonna dump it off. He did get sacked twice. One of those was like on a great linebacker blitz from Jacksonville, which was like
Right.
you can't do anything about
You
that.
can do
Dude,
about that, right?
dude comes right up the middle.
That
The
is
other one, the other one that he got sacked, I mean, he probably could have avoided that by throwing it away. But, you know,
Hey,
again,
but if that's his
probably
mistake. His QB rating was like what 115. I think at halftime
yeah,
it was like 118 or something crazy.
yeah. If that's that's your point, right? Like if that's the mistake, if the mistake is like
Fine,
you got a little too happy and you should have
fine,
like
right.
whatever. Because I still think they ended up picking up the first down. Like they
Of
never
all the
punted.
of all the golf mistakes, that's it. I'll take it. I'll take it, please. Check,
Right.
please.
And again, like, dude, they didn't punt. Like they never punted. And it's not like they never saw a third down. They saw third downs and he still was able to stand in there, deliver.
Well, Amon Ra, Mr. Third Down.
Dude, he force feeds that guy. Like it's
But he's
and,
wide
and
open.
again, and that's the problem. Like that's the great thing is that like he's getting open, except for the one where like it looked like he may have got his ribs broken. I was like every other pass, I was like,
did you hear? I don't forget who was talking about it today. Somebody was at the. I forget who was there. Oh, it was Jeremy. Jeremy was saying that like no, the arena went silent. And everyone was like, "Oh my god, he's dead."
Got killed. Like that is.
I just think he got the wind knocked out of him, and then
he did, but like that's a pass where it's like yes, and as being a receiver, that's part of the job that you know you may have to go across the middle and probably get lit up. On the flip side of that, typically as the quarterback, you try to like put that ball in a position to where he can catch and protect. That ain't happened on that route. That route was like
Goff's like, here you go. I'm gonna tee you up.
it was so fast. Like it was catch and it was
destroy.
Listen, as a person who loves safeties, it was like I was worried about Amon Ra, but it's like the safety fan in me was like, dude, that's a dope hit. That's an amazing hit.
Yeah. And dude probably felt good. He was like, dude, I got him out for the game. He's probably like, yeah, all right, now we got it. We're gonna knock him out. We knocked him out. And he goes, sits out for one, he's back in. Like, nah, I'm good.
Like I was like, I don't know. I had two reactions when I saw it. When I saw the hit, I was like, dang, that's a really good hit. And then I was like, hey, that's a white safety. Not many of those in the league. Like, you don't see too many of them. It's like seeing a unicorn on the football field. Like it's just like
hey, unicorns out there that are white, you know,
that play DB, like not playing football, that play DB.
Is he the only?
No, Harrison Smith.
Okay, all right.
You get two.
Hey, two unicorns. It can happen, kids.
It's like us in hockey.
Don't give up. Hey, kids, don't give up. Don't give up. All right, you
can be a great safety too. Okay,
you can be a great safety too.
Look, Christian McCaffrey paved the way for you guys for running backs. Like there's
hey, we got unicorns here and there. It's fine.
Yeah, but that Jared Goff did play really well. To your point though, that you were saying, yes, there is a I don't want to say a caveat because in order to get for some quarterbacks to play great, they do need everything to work well around them. And this has been the MO for Jared Goff. He needs everything to play at this level. It's not often that you're going to be able to roll him out in games and he be able to do this on his own. The O-line protected like crazy. He finally had his top three receivers. Swift looked a little more healthy. Jamal was Jamal. And like this is what you got.
We'll get into those guys, but yes, to your point, he needs a perfect pocket. And that's what he had in LA, though, right? Mm-hmm. That's what he had when they made their run. He had the best left tackle in football was Whitworth still there, right?
Yeah, Whitworth was still there, so he was a
Right.
very reliable tackle.
Yeah, like nobody was getting in, and if he did, like barely touched. And he had the best running back in Gurley, and that's
Mhm.
what they were doing. But it's funny, look what we've recreated though, which is very interesting, right?
Yeah, it's very Ramsey.
Very, very interesting, right?
Mhm.
And he's been working with Ben Goff has been working with Ben Johnson, and for what in talking about plays that he likes, and
Mhm.
they're collaborating. And so you see on yesterday what happens, right? It's in his wheelhouse, right? When he goes to Chark, it feels a little out of his wheelhouse, but he can maybe make it happen. And Chark
Yeah.
did make it happen on a couple. Like he, hold on,
Isn't it amazing what happens when he puts the ball in position to be like for his receiver to make a play on it,
it works,
right? And
right?
I hope that pisses somebody off in the comments. Yes, he has to put the ball in play. This whole adage that like, oh no, you're the receiver. You're no. If
No,
I beat my man off the line and I hit you with the hand, you're supposed to hit me. You're not supposed to throw it back shoulder. You're supposed to hit me streaking down the field. You're supposed to hit me wherever I'm going in my route. I'm sick and tired of this whole idea of like his receivers have to bail him out. Not when they win, not when they've already won on the route. That's not how this works.
yeah, I'm with Miko. Yo, come at me, bro.
Like it's it's dumb. I'm sorry. It's dumb to
Well,
think
okay, keep
because
going.
let's be real, right? If we were playing, if we were just playing pickup football in somebody's backyard,
Yeah, if
and
I'm
I
running,
beat,
Miko beats me, right? And then I have to take out his ankles, but he beats me. You got to throw it ahead. You got to throw it.
hey,
Oh,
throw it at the hand, throw it at the like, don't throw it behind me where I now have to adjust. Like I'm already in stride.
well, what I think he does is I think he throws it at the person open, and as he's not throwing it like I saw Brady throw a couple to Julio Jones tonight, and he's
Mhm.
throwing him open, like he's throwing him where he's supposed to be, right? So the idea is, right, young kids out there, that you got to throw them open, right? Don't throw it back into the coverage, right? Throw it open, right? Like even the toss to JMO, even though JMO got ridden out of bounds, he just threw it. He should have
Give
thrown
your
that further down, so JMO
Mhm.
get him down the field. If he can catch it, great. If not, the other guy's not going to get it either. So it's just about leading your man, right? I played soccer and hockey. It's a leading pass. If someone's streaking and going, you have to lead them to get it perfectly on their stick, their foot, in their hands. You can't throw it at them. And I think Goff has trouble with that timing.
Yeah,
I
and
still think, and that's something we'll talk about. Goff was good, but he could have. Yeah,
timing could have been a little bit more crisp in in some places. But like, no, I
he
love
got it
what you're
done.
saying there. I love what you're saying there because that's an element of, and it's not just like a nuance to football.
No, it's
Like I love how
sports.
you brought up like hockey and soccer. The same is true in basketball, right? If you're on a fast break in basketball, depending on how that fast break is running, if it's a 2-on-1 and there's a person behind me, you're not gonna bounce past that to me. You're gonna bounce past that in front of me so that I can catch easy layup to the basket. The same thing is true in football. If
I have
I
a better one too. An alley oop. Where does that go?
Right, it goes
Where do you where do you
ahead.
where do you put that? Right. That's
If
the
you
right.
love it, right? If you want someone to catch an alley oop, you don't typically throw it at them. You throw it at the basket so they can go attack the basket and then finish. The same thing is true in football. In If your receiver is beat their man, lead them, right? Lead them to the spot that you want them to be. If they're covered and it's tight, but you like, okay, I want to give them a chance, then yes, then we get into the nuance of, okay, do you drill it because it's maybe a curl route or a slant route and you're trying to just like dart it in there? Or is it, again, something where it's like a fade or a streak route and you're like, okay, I'm going to back shoulder you so that you can kind of like shield the defender away and still make this play? That is something that like Jared Goff doesn't always do consistently. And you can say it's nitpicky, but I do think it's a big part of being like the top tier of quarterbacks. The top tier of quarterbacks can do that very, very well. like you said, Tom Brady leading Julio Jones, doing those types of things. Aaron Rodgers does it really well. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, like these guys know how to do
And
it.
and so we call it throwing them open, right? In the NFL, they call it
Mm-hmm.
throwing them open. It's just leading them and throwing them to the space where they know they will be. And that's
Yeah.
the trust between the wide receiver and the quarterback. And I think to this, one of the bigger points is that Chark and Goff, we heard they had chemistry in preseason. We saw it, right? We saw that chemistry. And then, he got injured and we didn't really see it, but we saw it yesterday. That was awesome to see. Like, okay, that's there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chark can do this. Okay, like I kind of took a deep breath with Chark. I'm not gonna lie. Like I've been waiting on Chark all season to be that guy. And okay, it took a while, but
Yeah.
he is that guy. And then in the locker room, everyone, he got the game ball, big game for him, but he just like, man, I'm just happy to be here with this team, and I feel like I belong somewhere. And I think with that coaching staff and that management, that goes a long way. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's a huge moment for him, and it's a huge moment for us as Lions. It's Lions fans in watching that. It's great for the team. I think that kind of brings him back. Maybe you know what I mean. It's one of those things that it might help bring him back. I think he will
I,
want to stay.
I
You
think
know.
it should. I don't think it's a might. I don't think it's like a. I
Okay.
think it's a should. I think you need a DJ Chark. I
I
I I
I
truly
agree,
do.
but I don't know if he wants to go like, all right, I'm a free agent, I'm out. I think what I'm saying is he'll want to stay. Like from what
Yeah.
I heard is like he'll make it work with the Lions, and they'll find something friendly with each other. Okay, we want to take care of you, but I just think that was huge for him.
Well,
And
yeah. I think there was a really good article done on DJ Chark before he or when he first signed here. They gave a lot of like backstory to like his mental health and everything like that. And so if you read that article, you know that what you're talking about is important to him, right? Like feeling wanted, feeling like he's a part of a
stability,
family, stability, all of those things matter. Like obviously he's a competitor, he wants to win,
sure.
but for some people, like feeling like you belong and feeling like there's like you're in a good environment matters, right? People asked him like when he first got here about the difference between him like Detroit and Jacksonville, and he was just like, you know, even sitting out, he knew like something in Detroit looks different. There's a different energy in Detroit than is in Jacksonville, and we had like the same record for most of the year.
Right.
But even he could tell like, nah, there's something different about the way they go about things, and
Well,
that's great. It is. It's exactly what you're saying. I think it's the thing that could bring him back here, but I think even more so like Brad Holmes and company to be looking like, no, but we
oh,
need this guy
right. I mean, even
because
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, I was saying even with the Jameson coming, it doesn't matter. Like we need a Chark. We need a big wide receiver that can go up and get the ball, like, and be our deep threat. Really, I mean, we don't even know what Jameson is yet. Now, and we'll get into him in a second, but it really, it was just, I was so happy to see it. It was a sigh of relief for me and for him. Right, he
Yeah,
injury issues, like he has a lot to prove this season and in this game. Right, I know that I don't care who you are or what he says about circling games. This was a game he circled. Let's be honest. Let's be real. I think the coaching staff knew it. That's why we got him health. I mean, it all worked out, but
yeah.
come on, man. Like, I don't care who you are. Of course, you want to play your old team and say, what's up? Like, of course you do.
Well, because as much as he obviously wanted to be somewhere else, it also goes like it's also a duality of like Jacksonville didn't seem like they really tried to keep him. So yeah, there's a whole
Yeah,
thing of like,
you wanted to
all
show
right,
him.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
show you that you guys need me. And he did. He did it in a big way. And going to what you're saying about Jamo, like that's the thing that we haven't seen yet from Jamo. Like we know that based off of like his college tape and what scouts have said, he's a burner. We don't see a lot of tape on like Jamo making contested catches. And like again, Jamo only got I think two. The one like I'm not sure of, or I don't think we got like a full definitive thing of seeing in this game is how Jamo's going to handle physicality. Is he going to be able to go up over like corners and be able to make those tough contested catches? that we saw DJ Chark make, that we saw Amon-Ra make. Like, we still have to like see JMO do that. So that's why I still think you need a DJ Chark, because not only can DJ Chark go deep, he's showing that like, no, but I can make the contested catch too. I can make the tough catch.
He can fight through it. He's a strong dude, big dude, strong dude. He can fight through it. He can fight through that pass interference non-call. Like, wow. I don't know about that. Like, I mean, everybody who's listening, you saw that. I mean, come on, throw the flag. I mean, I wasn't worried about the game, so like whatever. But that's I don't know. I don't know on that.
I mean, there's calls missed throughout. I mean, like, people were up in arms about there supposedly being a lot of false starts on Jacksonville. Those weren't getting called in the first half.
Fine, great,
but like you were overcoming those.
Yeah, don't care. And that's what Dan Campbell has preached these guys, right? Like, it doesn't matter about the non-calls, dude. If you outplay them, you're gonna win. And yesterday was the epitome of that. Like, whatever happens. And I do want to hop real quick back to Goff and in giving him a flower. So I've never seen Jared Goff move so well. Like, how he, like, was it Trayvon Walker that he turned around and then bounced? I thought he was dead to rights, and I'm like, all of a sudden Goff spins out and rolls out. I'm like, who is this guy? Is he listening to the Questionable Podcast? He's even training and doing the ladder. He's doing sidestep moves. He's doing all of the cornerback wide receiver drills. Like, he had some moves. I'm like, who is this guy? I don't even know what's happening. That was the biggest thing for me of Jared Goff. He was moving, and I'm like, whoa, who's this guy? Like, that was crazy.
No, he was way more elusive in this game for sure. If you're just now tuning into the podcast, Gian, welcome.
Heyo.
Thank you. Hello.
Glad to see you're safe. Glad to see that everything worked out.
Oh, we're getting a lot of it today.
Hey.
Scott, it's been a while. I feel like it's been a while.
It has been a minute, sir.
Yeah.
We had a great intro. We've been crushing it. We were just golfing around.
No, I know. I had a whole bit that I was gonna come on and be like, what have you guys been talking about? So I can tell you how wrong you are about all of it.
No, I beat you to it with LA. Deal with it.
I know you did. So kudos to you for that.
And I will give you this, though, because it's very well deserved after a huge dominating win.
Let's go. I said the Lions won a game. Man, we going all the way. Baby. We about to celebrate. Why? Because the Lions won a game.
So I wanted to give you that because Miko's point was, it actually feels real, like we going all the way.
Yeah, he sent that text. So I also wanted to give Miko props right off the bat. Like, his score prediction was 31-14. He was very close.
I was very close.
Oh
yeah.
Oh
yeah. 40-14. I mean, he nailed it.
9 points off.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, when they were like, I think when they got to like 30, it was like 30-something 14. I was like, I'm happy with this. And then they got another touchdown, and I was like, this is even better.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yep. Pile it on like the pastrami while you're coming down. You know, LA Dele.
Lions piling on the points the way the LA Dele piles on the pastrami.
So Gian, welcome in.
Thank you.
You know, we gave you some consideration in the intro of the podcast. We hope the battery situation's okay, and we know that we've in-laws inbound and
no, it's my parents are coming out to, like, because we're doing a Christmas here, because like there's no way we're flying with a 2-month-old.
Oh, Dr. Tom will be there?
Yeah, for the first time in 10 years.
Can we get Dr. Tom on the podcast next Tuesday? When is he coming in? When is he coming in?
Thursday, and he leaves, I think, Tuesday.
No!
So there might be a chance.
Change the flight.
but yeah, so no, but they got an Airbnb very close to us, and so we are letting them use my car while they're here, which I have trepidation about, because my parents. Well, anyway, but anyways, but like, I have not been driving much at all. As loyal listeners know, I work from home in a studio, and so I have not driven my car like since our daughter was born. And I went out to like turn it on. It's been like 2 months, probably over. It's like 2.5 months, and just nothing. The battery was so dead.
You haven't driven your car in 2.5 months.
No, because it's been
started every once in a while.
I know, but then like I just forget, and like I just get so wrapped up in work, and then anyway. So yeah. So last night I jumped, Rachel helped me out. We pulled the car and we jumped, and then I went, it was Sunday night, so the roads out here were clear. So I actually drove for like an hour, on the highway, just like around. Yeah. Like just, I went all the way to like, well, no one's going to know, but this like Thousand Oaks, but, and came back and went to the gas station to fill up, and went to turn it on at the gas station. It still wouldn't start. And so it was that was perfect time. Like chef's kiss on that one. That was fantastic. So yeah, so Rachel came to the gas station with a crying baby, but as soon as she got in the car seat, pulled out of the building, boom, asleep. So she gave me a second jump to get back to the building. It's been a whole ordeal. I'm glad I'm here. Lions won.
Did you get a new battery? You need a new battery
at Costco. Yeah, you get to get the Costco batteries. Well, and thankfully it was still under warranty, because the last battery was purchased at a Costco and it was 2 years ago, and the 3-year warranty was still valid. So we got a free battery, baby.
Validity. Free-idity.
Speaking of needing new batteries, do you think that the Lions need a new battery in the form of a quarterback?
Hell,
as Jared Goff has been playing really well.
Let's go.
So I still don't think he is the long-term solution, but I am okay with sticking with him for another season and going Jalen Carter and whoever, like the best cornerback available. Mm-hmm. And then basically, yeah, defense, and then in later rounds, right guard and maybe running back, take a flyer, but mainly defense, just because it's just so stacked. And like the running back class is really deep this year. I remember reading, so yeah, I know it's tough to say, to admit, but yeah, I think I would be okay with Goff another year, especially considering if our defense was getting stops at the beginning of the season, he could have played how poorly he played at the beginning of the season. We still would have been winning games. It was kind of an either Goff plays better or the defense plays better. And one of those two things has a chance to, I mean, my God, 5 picks in the top 75 going into this draft. So I don't know. I feel bad for saying it. I feel dirty, but
you're saying what?
No, you shouldn't feel dirty.
What do you feel dirty about? What makes
it's just been such a roller coaster? Because like
you're so dirty. How do you feel any dirtier? I mean, it's an honest question.
That's exactly the point. I'm always dirty.
Right, but no, seriously, but why? Like,
no, I don't know. It just you had that point a few podcasts ago. Like, there's nothing he could do to convince me.
Still can't.
And I had kind of done this thing where like that's kind of the issue with me. I'm very loyal, but once that threshold has been crossed, like you're done. And I feel like he was done, and I think he still is done. But at the same time, there are other circumstances, there are other forces at work beyond our mortal understanding, and I think that Jared Goff is trapped up in that vortex.
I can maybe add on to this too, if I may.
Please do. I'm rambling, so yeah, please do.
Okay.
I'm talking about vortex.
I love what he's doing. I love like where he's at. And
yeah, he did have a good game.
Great, and we need that. However, moving forward, future of the Lions, we need someone to take us to the promised land. I don't think he's going to do it. He like I said, was very mobile this game, which was I've never seen that, but he was enough, and he got the job done. You know, we need more. We will need more. I mean, look at the teams that are winning Super Bowls, right? With the Mahomes, Josh Allen. I mean, you know, Tom Brady's one of a kind, and because he's not mobile. But
maybe Jalen Hurts this year,
and Jalen Hurts. Like, look at, I think that we need to plan for the future. So we have to address it in the next draft. If you want to keep this train rolling, right? I mean, really think about it. We've taken steps. There's been progress, and we questioned it at the beginning of the season. I'm like, we're all like, oh my gosh, is this really going to work out? Okay, look where we're at. It's working out. It's working out to what Holmes and Campbell said was going to happen a little bit, maybe a little bit late this season, but we do need to look for a quarterback that will get us further. Nothing against Goff, but he's just we need somebody with a big arm and some wheels to be able to do that. We just need need a quarterback that is standard these days, which you have to have some mobility, and now you have to have an arm, and you have to be, you know, kind of tough. Like, I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. So
Jared Goff's tough. I don't think he's mobile, and I don't know, his deep ball is questionable.
No pun.
And not in the good way. And not in no, so I completely agree with everything you said. He's not very mobile. That it certainly is an aspect of his game that I don't know if this has been like a intentional thing that they've been working on with him, but it seems like in the Bears game was the first time I ever saw him like scramble for a first down. And then you saw it a little bit again against the Giants, and then little by little he's been evading Trayvon Walker, for instance. Like he there's no way he could have done that.
They have him doing the ladder drill, guaranteed. I know what they of course they're working with him. Like, dude, you got to move. You give the guys a little bit more time,
bro,
and roll out, and throw it away if you want. But like, don't run down the field. Just roll out. Give our wide receivers a couple more seconds.
So I completely agree with you in that not mobile, or not mobile enough. But my question to you then is he not is Goff's replacement immediate enough that it's worth spending one of our two first round picks on?
Don't know.
So now this is where I want to
go, Miko.
Okay, yeah. Because this is how I wanted to frame
welcome
this.
To the party. Welcome to the party.
Because this is where it's tough. But it is a tough question because depending on who is available, like all of this is circumstantial. It's all depending on who's available, who's healthy come the draft, right? A lot of variables have yet to be played out. But let's say like all the top players are healthy. I would rather Brad Holmes pull a 49ers than to just go with the safe pick with a Jalen Carter. And here's why.
And
the 49ers,
can you explain the 49ers? You mean like Purdy, like the last man taken in the draft? What do you mean?
No. When they decided to draft Trey Lance, when they had a top 5 pick and they knew we're in the top 5. I think Trey Lance went 3rd overall that year. And they were like, we're this high. They could have restocked on defense. They could have restocked on offense. They could have took a number of different players. Sure. They were like, no, we're going to get our quarterback of the future because they knew they've had enough of Jimmy Garoppolo to know, look, can Jimmy get us to the playoffs? Yes. Can Jimmy get us to a Super Bowl? Yes.
Yeah.
But can Jimmy win us a Super Bowl? Maybe not. So they drafted Trey Lance. Did Trey Lance start his rookie year? Nope. He sat. And they let Jimmy work, and Trey Lance was there to develop, was there to learn Kyle Shanahan's system so that coming into this year, they could feel confident enough to be like, you know what? He's had a year of learning. He understands the system. He's had time to build some level of chemistry through practice and things of that nature with the receivers and the O-line and all these different things. We feel more comfortable rolling him out. Now, I say that to say I would love the Lions to do that because the goal is to not be in this position again. Like this is like the dream scenario if you're the Lions. You potentially get a top 5 pick, and it's not because you're terrible.
Right.
Yeah.
It's someone else's pick. It's almost like playing with house money. So why not take that money and invest it in your future? Listen, I would love Jalen Carter. And I'm still not even necessarily saying I don't want Jalen Carter, but the only quarterback I would take there, let's say it's the 4th pick, because that's currently where they're slotted. There is a very strong possibility that Jalen Carter is not even there.
Yeah, it's true.
Because Houston's definitely taking one of the quarterbacks. It's either Bryce Young, it's either CJ Stroud. That's one. Will Anderson's probably going 2. Jalen Carter could very well go 3 to Seattle because Seattle's probably very happy with Geno Smith right now. And so
Chicago's not taking a quarterback.
Right. So then you're left with, I'm not sure of like any of the other top defensive players, but then like you're left with maybe CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. Now, if it's Bryce Young, take whatever defensive player you want. Literally, take whatever defensive player you want. If it's CJ Stroud, I would think long and hard about CJ Stroud. Because I think CJ Stroud is the perfect kind of quarterback to sit behind a Jared Goff for a year
And
do what Trey Lance did.
Heisman, right? Isn't he on the Heisman list?
He's on the Heisman list for the 2nd year in a row, I think.
Yep.
He didn't win it last year. He lost it, I think, to Bryce Young. But the reason I would say CJ Stroud is because Bryce Young, no amount of sitting behind Jared Goff is going to make Bryce Young taller. Like, it's not. And John pointed it out last week, I believe, that like Bryce Young is shorter than our shortest offensive lineman.
No, you can't.
Like
look
seven
at Russell
inches.
No, look
7
at Russell
inches
Wilson
shorter.
and his issues being like short quarterbacks, like Baker. You can't.
It's too volatile. Like there's not a big enough sample size to say yes, it doesn't matter. Like you don't know
Everything.
And so
yeah.
And so that's why I say like I would rather than take the aggressive approach. Take the approach that like, hey, we're never going to be in this situation again. And you also don't have the draft capital. Like you're not going to have the draft capital next year to make some huge leap into the top 5 if you're not terrible.
Miko.
So
I think that's your best point. We will never be here again. This is the time because hopefully we keep going up and to the right. So this is our chance.
The goal should be not to be the goal
Correct.
should be not to be here again.
But I don't think we. I mean, if we continue on the trajectory we are, we shouldn't be. And so if that's the case, we're here. You got to take them now. You got to take and plan, and you got to just hope it works. And you got to figure out who's there. And I'm with you because that's it. This is it. We're not gonna. I mean, we could like mortgage our future like the Rams, right? And do that. And then what are you left with? A team that is horrible. And that's the last thing that the Lions fans and management, I think, wants, right? Let's be honest. I think they want to keep this thing going. Yeah. They don't want to, so you build it the right way, Miko, right? We have a team good for a long time. Not a team that's good for a season. I don't think that'll fly with I'll take the Super Bowl, but that's not guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like that's
all I'm saying. Like, I think that's there are some people that are going to say taking Jalen Carter is the winning mentality. And it might be, but I also think taking a quarterback is also a winning mentality because you're sitting there like, we're never going to be in, like, we do not plan on being in this position again next year. That is not, if things are going well, we're not in this position next year.
You can't trade for quarterbacks. They're too expensive. Look at Lamar. Yeah, Lamar might have liked a post of ours and wants to be here. We cannot afford him, right?
Totally agree.
We can't afford that, and the Lions won't pay that. I mean, we've seen they're not going to make moves like that. So if we're never,
you guys want to know a dirty secret that like not a lot of people are talking about?
What happened?
We all talk about how Jared Goff can't throw the deep ball, right?
Lamar can't.
You know who's the worst
Lamar
at throwing the deep ball right now? Lamar Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't want. yes,
And I'm not saying I don't want Lamar, but
I
I'm
would
just saying,
love
like,
Cam Newton here, but like, I'm just kidding, kidding, guys.
Like maybe like 10 years
for
ago.
for those
If
that
you had a
don't know,
time
listen to
machine.
the podcast last year. Listen to the pod last year. We got a lot of them. Anyway, but no, but Miko, yeah, you're right. I'm just saying, like, you're not trading for quarterbacks anymore. It's just too much. If that's like the one thing you need, you're still not going to get the one you want. So you have to gamble with QBs in the draft.
If you have the opportunity to take one of the top two guys, personally, like, it does. The height thing bothers me about Bryce Young because I do think it's going to come into play. It just
1,000%. Because it does. It can't see over the. I mean, yes, I
worst
agree.
Case scenario, you can't see. Yeah, worst case scenario, you can't see over your offensive lineman, or probably best case scenario, you just can't see over your offensive lineman. Worst case scenario, you end up getting hit like Tua does, and it's like, and every hit looks like we may lose our quarterback forever.
Right, because every hit, it feels like he almost dies and then comes back to life.
So
he did it. It happened again this weekend.
Oh, it did.
He got. Oh yeah, Bosa wrecked him.
Oh, dude, he got destroyed.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is you kind of need. And Lamar's a skinny guy. He hurt his knee this weekend. I mean, like, Garoppolo's not a tiny guy, but he broke his ankle.
No.
Like,
he just made a glass. Garoppolo's like, and that's the other thing
glass
too,
man. Right? You need kind of a tough athlete back there these days.
That's the other thing too. Like, you would rather have the guy and not need him. Like, even the Packers took Jordan Love, and there was a lot of flack that were given to the Packers for taking Jordan Love because Aaron Rodgers is still kicking butt right now. But it's like, but if he didn't, like, yeah, they were looking like trash for a while, and there was murmurs heading into this game, like, maybe we give Jordan Love a try. Like, they never gave up on him either.
Right. So anyway, the answer is Jared Goff the long-term answer? No.
Well, yeah.
No,
so
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I mean, Miko brings up some really great points, and I keep coming back to with how, Derek Barnes is really one of the only major question marks on Brad Holmes. Is like, well, Levi Onwuzurike, I guess, but you couldn't really you couldn't really determine whether that injury was going to be overcome, and apparently he had surgery this year that he was supposed to have, or that he should have had last year. We'll see. But this most recent draft, I mean, my God, home run. There's grand slam. There's no other way to talk about it. So he is now he has a sense of trust that if they take Jalen Carter, I'm like, okay, they did not like what they saw in either quarterback. If they take Stroud, like, oh, yeah, they like what they saw, they can work with this guy, and this is the right move. It's a weird feeling as a Lions fan to have like trust in this in the front office, but like whoever they take at 4, I'm gonna be fine with.
Okay, so
yeah, I don't think. I mean, yeah, like it's
the trust tree. The trust tree.
It's way too early, in my opinion, to like even like to be like to rattle my brain about it. Like, I have a preference as of right now. And everybody knows all of that's going to change once pro days happen, once combine happens. Like, all of this stuff always fluctuates. All of it always changes. So, but I do. I think, like, has Jared Goff done enough to like solidify? For me, no, right? And again, I know for some of you guys, like, there is, like, Jared Goff has proven that he can do enough. To me, it's not enough, because John, you weren't here when I said this earlier in the show, but like, if Jared Goff played like this consistently, the Lions have 3 losses on the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like, flat out, like, non-debatable, they have 3 losses, because there are 3 games that we can definitely point to that say, like, hey, the defense didn't show up.
Right.
But if we knew that Jared Goff would go into games and play like this game in and game out, there would be no reason for concern. But like, even in this like window of them winning, there is literally a game that he played that they won, where he threw for only 160 something yards and no touchdowns.
Yep.
Like, he just occupied a space. And again, that's fine in the grand scheme of winning. However, when we're talking about playoffs, when we're talking about winning playoff games, and when we're talking about competing for a championship, you need more. I think he proved that when they lost the Super Bowl to New England. And I think it has even been proven when Jimmy Garoppolo got to a Super Bowl. Like, it's not enough for you to just occupy a space. You have to elevate.
You can't you can't have a figurehead at quarterback. You need to have an athlete. That's where I'm going to break it down to. It's Garoppolo.
Or you need an unworldly defense. You need the 2000 Baltimore's defense to do that.
Even so, you're going to need some bounces to go your way. And like, I just think that's asking one side of the ball. You know what I mean?
And that's why I say that. Like, Baltimore's defense, when they did it and they had Trent Dilfer, like, yeah, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, like, as good as the defense is playing right now, you don't have those. You don't have generational talent on your defense. You have a lot of really good players that can develop it to be great players, maybe even all pros. Not generational talent.
Yeah, two Hall of Famers on the line. Yeah.
Like,
so
yeah,
there was to switch gears a little bit, or to kind of shift back to the Lions Jaguars game. There was one thing I wanted to kind of get your guys' opinion on. And I wanted to know if it hit you the same way. I felt like there was a little bit of changing of the guard, or a return back to the way things were early in the season with the running back situation, where
I wanted to hit on that too.
Where Swift got
a
lot more touches and a lot more carries, and like I've been saying, things look different. Yes, he might dance a little much, but when he dances and he hits the right move,
oh my god,
I got notes on this. Yeah, so he had 18 touches, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't even over 20. So it's like right where we all talked about where his wheelhouse should be, like 14 to 18. I think we all talked about this, right? He's got to at least get there. And I'm going to hop in here, Mika, if you don't mind, and John.
Yeah.
But my notes are for him is, where is it? Solid, fancy, awesome, amazing runs. Like, he just makes it look easy when he gets in a rhythm, like we talked about. You get him in a rhythm, then he gets a feel for the game, and he knows what he can and can't do. And so that is what you got in 18 touches, right? And they lined him up outside a lot as a receiver too, which is great. And that I think they figured out how to use Swift. I think they figured it out, because he's not just a running back. He's more. He's such a talented athlete, right? He's such a. What do you do with him, right, Jamal? Yes, we run Jamal up the gut, and Jamal can get us there. And yes, we could. But like Swift, I think they figured it out. You line him up everywhere, and you let him make the magic. You get him the ball in space, and he can make magic happen. I was so happy that second run for the touchdown, like he got there, because I was so concerned, just like confidence wise as an athlete. I'm like, oh my God, please get this. And you could see him even be like, please give this to me. Like, I just need this right now. It's just as confidence, because he's been like, right, the second fiddle a little bit to Jamal, who's had a great season, but that's like great season, like second to Barry Sanders right now as a running back. And it's like, so it was amazing to see him fight for his space on the team, because it's separate of Jamal's. They're two different players, and Swift brings the dynamics that teams cannot plan for. And that is why that's what helps our running game so much, in my opinion. It helps the running game, and it helps all the short passing game. It helps Amon-Ra too. I mean, because you have this in-betweener, Swift, like, what is Swift going to do now? Like, what is he going to do? Holy Swift's out. Oh my God. Are they going to throw it to him? Is he going to run it? I was so happy for him. I mean, for me, that was the game ball for him. He had 120 or 140 yards. He had a bunch of passes. bunch of runs in a touchdown. I mean, that was for me. That game was Chark and Swift. I was both of them. I was very happy for both of them.
Yeah, he had 111 total yards. Like,
oh God, Samsonite, I was way off.
But I know I love what you said about like the goal line touchdown because reward him for getting you there because the run that he had to get you in that position was amazing. And like, okay, the next play doesn't quite go the way you want it to, but it's like, dude, give him an opportunity to get in the end zone. And I'm also going to give Dan Campbell a little bit of credit in this because that change to Swift getting more carries happened after the Jamal fumble again. Now they didn't lose the fumble, but like
I saw that
it shows.
Oh,
yeah,
it shows this. Yeah, it just shows this. Like everyone is treated the same. Like when Swift makes bad decisions, he starts to see his touches get dwindled down. This is what back-to-back weeks that Jamal has fumbled, and specifically fumbling in situations where he's supposed to be doing what he does best. Now, I'm not bashing Jamal, but I'm simply saying, like, the 3 or 4 fumbles that he's had, they're happening in situations where it's like, this is supposed to be your wheelhouse. And it makes me wonder, like, are teams starting to notice something with, like, okay, Jamal's going to come through the middle, and there's an opportunity to, like, punch it out or knock it out or whatever, based off of how he's coming through the middle. But I love the fact that like they were like, hey, we're going to give Swift more run. We're going to give him a few more opportunities to get a few more touches. Now, to Dan Campbell's credit, he did also say he's healthier. He seems way more healthy. And because he's healthier, they feel more confident in giving him a larger workload. And that's great because that was something else we talked about a couple weeks ago. Maybe he's not getting touches because they don't feel like he's quite healthy enough. Well, if he's just now starting to get there, then this is the perfect time to get him and Jamal back to that like even split within like 2 or 3 carries of each other.
Swift and Swaggy back to that. And D'Amico, to your point, just in a psychological way, I mean, there has to be consequences for mistakes, like not in a negative way, but like if you don't give consequences, then there's no change, right? Just on a psychological level. That's what people do when they're trying to break habits, right, of addiction and other stuff. And so in that instance, that's actually probably helpful for Jamal, right? Like that is it a weird thing. And it was probably helpful for Swift because now he's got his moment. He's making it felt like he was trying to make the most of every time he got the ball. And that to me was very cool to see is like, oh, dude, like, because he knows he has talent. He knows he's talented and he wants to be here. It all made sense to me in watching that game in that. So, yeah, I agree.
John, piggyback off of what you said. I love them handing the ball right back to him. That was just an amazing moment.
Are you there, John?
Am I not? Am I not on?
I'm messing with you. I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
Sorry. father of an infant I'm messing with. It's not fair. Yeah. It's fun though.
No, so one of the first things I was gonna say, if you guys had done your the kind of broad strokes takeaway, my biggest takeaway was about DeAndre Swift, and it was how did you guys notice? And I saw this and I said, this is a different player. And when he would get hit and he would tackle, he would bounce up and do a little shoulder shimmy, or he would shush, or he would do the forward, or he would do the first down. He would do something. He would do some kind of attitude and just popping up and giving attitude. And I was like, we have not seen that player since probably week 2 or 3. And I was like, he has to be feeling better. And I think it's a combination of health. I think he had a week and a half, basically.
Had mental too.
And mental too. So like, I think I really do think the limited snaps on Thanksgiving and previous were for his health. little bit, at least. I'm not going to say 50-50, but I do think they were kind of nursing an injury. And then he plays limited snaps on Thanksgiving and then has a week and a half. And I think he just was really feeling it because, yeah, we just haven't seen DeAndre Swift with attitude. And when DeAndre Swift has attitude, he's the only player on that team. I'm not going to say the only player, but he we have to use these things like dynamic. We say explosive, electrifying. And I realized what it was tangibly against the Jaguars, and he's the only running back we have that turns losses into gains.
Yeah, he got stopped. He got stopped.
Jamal can get stuffed at the line. Like it happens. It's the nature of the situations we put him in. And
he got stopped at the line and he bounced back out and went to the side and he got what?
And he'll gain 7. And then or he'll catch the ball sitting on his butt and get up and score a touchdown. And like he's the only back that we have that turns losses into gains. And I think having that player, that athlete is. Hopefully he's feeling it, and this is just as Dan Campbell said in the post game in the locker room. This is one. We're 1-0. We're on a 6-game season. We're 1-0, and it's just so exciting.
Yeah, but
I'll go back to what you were saying, John. Like I think you can double down and say, like, I mean, at least I'll say it. He is the most explosive player on their team right now. Like obviously, we haven't
magic.
Seen...
That's why I said magic. He makes magic happen. Like
again. Saint is great. Saint is reliable. Saint is like always open.
Pro bowler.
Right? Like you can trust that he'll be open. Chark is proving that he can be a big, catch receiver for you. But as far as taking one play and taking it to the house, I don't know like that anybody on that offense does it better than DeAndre Swift when healthy. When healthy, it's it just feels like there's a 50-yard play like waiting to happen. And maybe there'll be more of that when JMO gets like really accustomed to where it's like, nah, dude, like if he beats a guy off the line, it's that. But this swagger that you're talking about, it's contagious, and you can see it on everyone. There is a swagger on this team, and it's just like, man, like I don't know how much is too much, right? Like when swagger turns into cockiness, but however much they had against Jacksonville, like bring that much to Minnesota.
So, yeah, Miko. So I texted both of you this after the game, like confidence,
contagious.
Winning is I got to look it up now because it was so good. It was like winning is contagious and confidence is. I'll look it up in a second, but yes, Miko, to your point is, I don't think they can have enough of that because I think Dan Campbell will keep them in check enough. If that makes sense. I feel like Dan will keep them focused. And what he said is like one of this, and we are going here. Now, Dan loves it, and he's going to have to, again, get out of his own way of excitement. And I feel like even in the post game in the locker room, he wanted to say more, but he just left. He got I think that he's even in the game, he just stood out of the way. It felt like it wasn't.
Dan's not a concern for me. Like Dan very much looks like he knows where he's supposed to be emotionally, but players are different. Like you're in the heat of battle, you're in the heat of a game. Like that swings for you, I think, a little bit more than it does for coaches. Like, I mean, think about all the years that we saw Jim Caldwell stay on the sideline and just look stoic. Like, good coaches know how to do that. Like, good coaches know how to just like lock in and not allow their emotions to get out of control until there's zeros on the clock. Players, though, like we're talking about when things are going well. Imagine how emotions like swing when things aren't, when all of a sudden calls aren't going your way. Like they never had to deal with that in this one, but like that's why I say like it's a priority. Like you have to find the right amount because there's a balancing act between swagger and cockiness, where all of a sudden you're cocky and you think you take, hey, we can beat anybody, to think that we can beat anybody and play anyway. But like Dan said, you can beat anybody when you play the right way, when people are doing their assignments. Like, don't, hey, James Houston, 3 sacks in 2 games. Don't assume that like you can just do it by yourself. Amon-Ra St. Brown, hey, you're always open, but don't assume that you can get fancy or get cute or think that you can get, too puffed up and next you're getting penalties for taunting. Like, keep it at a level. Keep it at whatever level allows us to be successful.
Completely agree. And I think this is where it comes in when Dan Campbell said culture fit for players. This to me is where they've got the right guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm not going to predict the future, but he seems like the type of dude, as successful as he is, he still looks at that list of all the wide receivers that came before him every practice, not like every game, every practice. Right. And so hopefully that from him, he's the leader of the team. I could say that right now. He's not a captain, but he's a leader. Right. Jamal Williams, that dude, right, coming from Green Bay, being number 2, coming here, having this, I think. And Miko, it's a dance, right? It will be a dance with this whole thing. But if they can do this dance, I mean, there's a chance. And my quote was, winning is addictive and confidence is contagious in a locker room. And so the confidence, right, of all the guys doing well, which is interesting. I just wanted to connect is like, that's, in my opinion, why Chark's able to come back off of IR and then fit in. Like, they've been included the whole time. They're a part of that team. And it's a team, right? When we get to this whole thing, when I said, like, I think they're building an actual team, like earlier this season, I'm like, we're not winning, but like it's a team. They are losing together, the winning together. It's not one person. And the fact is, like, a lot of NFL teams have star athletes that like we depend on or they depend on and so on and so forth. But like when you get a team together and they're all going, like Miko, you and I talked earlier, John, we talked about the defense. That looked like one unit, not the linebackers and the DB.
Yes.
Like, it looked like one unit. And the offense is looking like one unit, and they're looking like a team now together. Those are the teams that make runs. I mean, really, they're the ones that make runs, that they believe, and they become teams of destiny. And like, you can't beat us because we believe we can come back from anything. And we've already dealt with all the obstacles in the beginning of the season. Like, it can't get much worse than that.
Right.
So what, like after it, we're going to go win this game. We just don't want to lose again. We know what losing feels like, and we don't want to feel that way. That's why winning's addictive and losing is like cancer. Like, it's because it gets infectious and you believe it, like we're terrible, we're horrible. We've lived that for years as Lions fans. But now when you get to winning, you're like, I don't feel like that ever again. I'm going to do anything I can to win this game. And everybody's on the same page. I mean, it makes it interesting for the last 6 games, 5 games.
Yeah, last 5.
So you're saying so the Lions are Robert Downey Jr.?
1,000%. They're Iron Man.
No, have you heard that story that like that's what finally made him sober up, is that he get clean and sober was he was in the bathroom of a Burger King laying on the floor drunk eating a Whopper, and he like had this moment of realization of like he looked around and was like, what the am I doing? Where am I? What am I eating? This is disgusting. Like, what and like he had this like moment of lucidity on a bathroom floor eating a Whopper in a Burger King, and was like, I don't ever want to feel this way. I don't ever want to be here. I don't ever want to do this again. And then he got clean, and then he started being in movies, and he's Iron Man, and now he's like the biggest movie star in the world.
One of them.
Yeah,
no. Who's bigger?
Like I said,
than Robert Downey Jr.
The Rock.
Kevin Hart.
Ooh, that's a good call. Oh, that's tough.
Washington.
I mean, Dwayne's in everything right now.
That's
it's
a good
okay.
call. That's another episode.
Yeah, he was.
That's a non-football season episode. We'll have that discussion.
But Scott, I don't disagree with any of it. It's my only issue with stuff like that, right? Is that it's too feel-good. Like, it's too like emotionally and it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like, all of that's great. I don't need you guys to love each other and feel like a family. I need you guys to go out there and do your job.
No, I get that because
and I think like
in
like
order
the
to do something, and real quick, in order to do something special, like go like win out, you got to have a team that's a team. I get that, but like to do something
I
special,
don't
they're gonna do it.
I don't and again, I'm not saying it does not matter. I don't think you can have 11 guys go out there and play independently, but whether they're friends, family, or just coworkers, go out there and do the job. And I like that to me, when we talked about the defense a little while ago, like that was the thing that's like most clear. It's not like, hey, look how friendly they look. It's like, no, look at everybody just being like, hey, I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do the assignment that was given to me. And the teams that, I mean, Dan says it all the time. The teams that win are the teams that don't make mistakes, are the teams that do their job to the highest level. Because I feel like this team is like this franchise has had teams where you're like, oh, they like each other. Like everybody's friendly, everybody's cool, blah, 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 blah. The Caldwell era, everybody loved each other and everything was going great. It was all kumbaya everywhere. Didn't matter. They still didn't win. They still weren't going deep into the playoffs because at the end of the day, you still had players that probably weren't doing their jobs at the time, coaches, players, and you still probably had lapses in talent. All I'm saying is like, and to say that is like, look, it's great that they're playing this well. In order for them to continue doing it, they can't get so big headed into thinking like we're just this good, we're just this dope. Like, nope, you guys are winning you won 4 out of 5 because everybody did their job, because everybody continued to work and do what they were assigned to do. Nobody better ever get a big head and think I can do it by myself.
But also to John's name, I always believe they have to believe, right? So yes, Miko, you're right. They have to do their job, but they have to believe they're going to win. They can do their job and not believe they're going to win. It's not. They're not going. I mean, it's not going to happen. So
Wait, hold on. That doesn't make sense. In a professional sport, you think there are guys that are out there that are like doing their job but don't believe they're going to win?
Dude, Aaron Glenn said this whole thing on Hard Knocks. There was a whole thing. He pulled out Josh Jackson. He goes, "You went to Ohio State, right?" He goes, "How many games did you lose last season?" He said, "1." He said, "So every time you laced up your cleats on Saturday, you believed you were going to win?" He said, "Yes." Right. He goes, "We need to get that feeling in this room. We need to get that feeling in this building."
Hold on. So the difference between Jonah Jackson not winning many games at Maryland and winning a ton of games at Ohio State was strictly belief. It had nothing to do
with how are you going from there? How are you getting that? How are you getting that? We didn't say the only thing. And that's another thing that I want to say. Like, this isn't about feel good. This isn't about friendly. This isn't about kumbaya. But this is
no, but that's exactly what I said, though. I said, I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. I'm saying that it's too feel good to put all that in, like, look how great they look as a. No, people are doing their job. The reason they lost games in the beginning of the year because people weren't doing their job. Let's not act like they didn't like each other or that they weren't a family, that they weren't a team. People were not doing their jobs, period. Aubrey Pleasant got fired because people weren't doing their job. Michael Brockers is no longer active because he's not good enough to do his job, period. That is what this is.
Okay, yeah, but to Scott's point, I think you need something intangible to go from 1-6 to 6-1 in the same season to turn that around in 1 week to like and I get
guys don't. But to say that belief is a big part of it, do you think any of these players would still be on this team right now if they didn't believe?
Didn't we? Yes. Isn't this what we gave? I mean, they're under contract and they're getting paid millions of dollars. How can they not be?
They believed in the leadership, not that they could actually go all the way.
Hold on, but isn't that what we said? Like, isn't what we gave Dan Campbell credit for? Isn't that what we gave Brad Holmes for? Is that like, oh, well, they found guys that they knew would believe that they could win, that they would believe in what they're building. Belief was already established. Now, what's the next part that you got to do? Do your job. There is, and that's all I'm saying is that, like, I'm not. Do you need to believe? Can you just roll up and be like, I don't think we're going to win and just show up? No. But I also think if you don't think that you're going to win, I don't think you're going to go do your job well. Have you ever woken up for your job
and been like,
I don't care about this job, so I'm not like, I don't believe that I'm going to get recognition, or I don't believe that I'm going to do well at my job, and still do your job well? No, you half-ass it.
Okay, so I guess we're all there, but I think that so in the beginning of the season, right, we were losing games. The team still believed they could win. Correct? Can we all agree that as we were losing and not jobs were not being done? Miko is what you're saying, right? When we're losing, jobs were not being done.
Yes.
Correct? Okay, so jobs
Yeah.
weren't being done, but everyone believed they could still win.
Yeah, I don't think anyone started the season in September and been like, I don't think we're going to beat the Eagles. But
Right.
hey, I'm going to still go out here and like just collect a paycheck. Like, no.
No, they believed they could win, right? And they had really good games, and we weren't winning the games. We were very close, right? We can all agree on that. That's what happened. We were close in big games, and we weren't winning them. What I'm saying is now we're winning them. Yes, everyone is doing their jobs, and we have the right people and personnel in place. But the belief of like not winning the game, the belief of like getting to the playoffs, the belief of like further, like there's more.
Well, that's an entirely different like thing than what we were just talking about though. Like that's an entirely different form of belief of like, are we going somewhere?
How is that?
I don't know.
So
I don't know if it's like a belief about like where are we going. I think it's about when a belief gets reinforced by tangible results. Like it's one thing to like alter your diet to lose weight and say you change your diet and you start exercising to lose weight, and for like a month straight you just see there's no difference. The weight is not coming off. You still feel sluggish, you just feel exhausted, you're just sore all the time, and you just feel like shit. And you're like, okay, I know, I believe, because science like tells me that good diet and exercise is healthy and it leads to tangible results. So I believe that like in an abstract, but then once that weight starts coming off, once you can see abs, once you can see biceps, like that belief becomes tethered to a tangible result. And I think that's like, I don't know if that's what Scott's talking about, but that's I think what I mean. And like then it becomes a positive feedback loop of this belief being reinforced by a tangible result that you see on a weekly basis, and it becomes easier to believe, and then it becomes easier to perform, and it becomes easier to do your job. And I just think this thing, I don't know. I just think there's an intangible
better way of
to
this.
saying of what I was trying to say, Miko. That's all. It's like,
but that's like okay, but that's why I said in the beginning, like I'm not saying that belief has nothing to do with it, but I think like if we're talking about the reason why they're winning games because people are doing their job.
Well, correct. Yes,
but I think that belief is why we're going to beat Minnesota.
Basic term, right? On the basic level, yes, they're doing their jobs. And they're winning all the assignments, and this last game was darn near perfect as far as lines. What, we have one penalty, we didn't punt, like that was okay. Like everyone did their job.
I just remember like I think if we really took a step back and like reevaluated every press conference that Dan Campbell has had since the season has started, it was always we like either they lost because someone didn't do their job, or a unit like we didn't do our job well enough. And the reason that we're winning now is he's always saying like, hey, we're executing, we're doing this, we're doing our jobs. Like the belief part is going to like that's part of just being a good teammate. If you're a terrible teammate, then sure, like then yeah, you probably lack belief. You're probably there to collect a check, and you're probably not playing. That's the other part of it. Because if you have that attitude,
correct. I agree with
practice with that attitude, you're going to perform with that attitude, and coaches are going to be like, no, I don't need that dude. Give me the dude that's going to bite kneecaps. Give me the dude that's going to drag someone to the deep end. Like,
go ahead.
But John, I agree with you in the fact that like, yes, they're tethered together, which is one of the first things I said. Like, I think belief is a part. I just think like belief without, to get a little religious here, Bible says faith without works is dead. So basically, you have to work. You have to put action forward. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, belief, the idea of like, well, I think we can win, I think we can compete, means nothing.
Yeah.
If you don't put the work in, if you don't actually do the work to the best of the ability. And that's what we're seeing on display in the last 4 out of the last 5 games.
Well, I would argue that's the whole season because they put the work in and they kept the belief and they were losing and losing and losing and they kept doing it and now we're winning. And what I'm saying is like this winning, like that's the tangible result in which will help, like little things get bigger for the team, right? And we're I think we're still saying the same thing, unfortunately, in just different ways.
Well, no, I just like I said, like it does it. Like I do, I'm happy about where this team is going, but like whether it's this conversation or just other people that are just like, look how together they look and look how happy. And it's like, dude, I don't like. It's great. It's a great feel good
Winning,
moment.
well, winning brings the team
But
together.
like, but yeah, I was like, but this is what winning does. When people win, they look happy. When people lose, they look sad. Like, or at least they should.
Okay, all right, so
Can
I
we get
think
to Minnesota, please?
yeah, let's move on.
Yeah.
So John, real quick, before we get to Minnesota, right? We talked about Chark, we talked about the O line, we talked about Jamal. We didn't talk about Jackson. I just want to real quick. Jackson had some really good. Our special teams was really good. That was great. We talked about Amon Ra. We talked about everything else. Money Badger, our kicker, made all the kicks too. I mean, there's
Yeah.
kick.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's nice to have a reliable kicker.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
But yes, Minnesota Vikings preview
Well,
and
so
score prediction.
the only thing I
Yeah,
wanted to say about
so we
like
covered
takeaway,
we covered all the
quick
D.
hit. One thing
Mm-hmm.
where I thought that game was won is when you were talking about the defense playing as a unit. And I think it was Jacksonville came and they scored. I think it was in the fourth quarter. I think came and I think it was still when we were like 24 and or 23 and Jacksonville came down. They scored and then they got the 2-point conversion. And it was like, oh shit, I've seen this movie before. And but then so then I can't remember what happened on offense, but then defense comes out on Jacksonville's next possession, and they just looked fired up. Like they just marched down the entire field. They ate a lot of clock, but they marched down the entire field and then scored and then got the 2-point conversion and then sack, tackle for either like sack, tackle for loss, and then like I think like another like a mass stop, and it was just 3 and out. And then Lions came back, the offense came back, feeding off that energy, scored again. And I thought that defensive stand was where the game was won. Like it was just electrifying. You could see the crowd was in it, you could see the team was in it, and it's just like, oh no, like we got this, we got your back. And
Yeah, I don't know. I had said it in the beginning, like this game felt out of control once it went to like 14-3. Like I said earlier, like John, you were here, but I was like, they went up 14-3, and it was just like I felt myself like slowly just like reclining in my seat, where it's like, let me just put this into cruise control, because like it never felt threatening. Like to your point, even when they went on that long drive in the third quarter where they ate up a ton of time in the third quarter to get a score, like we already had 30. Like,
yeah.
it was like, well, if this is how long it's going to take you to get your touchdowns, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. But no, I think like that was a very, it's a winner's drive. What you described, what the Lions did in that moment, is what winners do, right? You give up a touchdown, fine. Lions went out very next drive, got a field goal. Then it's the 3 and out that you talk about. That's just like quick, bang, 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 get out of here. And then they basically milk the rest of the fourth quarter. 12-play drive for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Ball game. I mean, if it
Dagger
wasn't even
time.
ball game before that, like yeah, like it's
Right.
It's not like actually, and that was the thing I would give Dan credit. Give Dan a lot of credit for not getting cute, because you could have got cute in that moment. You could have ran the ball. We're going to run it on all 3 downs, and if we get first downs, great. But we're going to try and milk clock. No, they came out on that drive throwing, and it was just like it was what Dan said in Hard Knocks: drag them to the deep end.
Yeah, it's yes, that is exactly,
That's
and
the one
it is what I've
example.
wanted to see.
Yeah, you're right,
It is
Nico.
what I've wanted to see from a Lions team for so long, where it's just I feel like this was every game Caldwell had a lead, he would take his foot off the throat, and they would come back and they'd lose in the fourth quarter. And like that was another one of my key takeaways. Like they didn't take their foot off the gas, and that's a much to use. Go back to Hard Knocks. They just took them out to the deep end. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And I mean, they're going to need it because against Minnesota, it's probably going to be. I don't expect it to be this level of dominance, but it's like you're gonna have to battle, right? Like you're gonna have to battle this team from jump. And right now, I don't know if you guys know this, the Lions are a 1 point favorite.
Yes.
I got it pulled up right now. Yeah, 1 point favorite. The over under is 53.5.
Shootout.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means. Combined points? Is that combined points?
Yeah.
combined.
Okay.
So right. So the idea is like you think it's going to be more than 53.5. The half, I don't know where the half comes. I mean, for gamblers, I don't know, but yeah. So basically, like, yeah, basically, if you're doing over 53, you'd have to bet 54, right? That's what I'm saying. So if they get to 53, it's a push, and you lose, and the house wins. So, yeah, no, it's a tight game. They got it. They, a 10-2 team versus the Lions.
I was shocked that they had him as a favorite, as a 1 point favorite. Now, obviously, like the line can swing the rest of the week, but I mean, I don't know where you guys sit. Where you guys sitting at? I mean, going into this game,
I can go ahead. I'm ready to go. I think it's the Lions. I think it's super tight. I'm debating between Lions 31, Vikings 27, but I'm like leaning towards also like Lions 31, Vikings 30. Like I mean, it's like that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely in the over camp. Because also Jameson, right? You can't account for what Jameson can or cannot do. Jameson might do nothing, or Jameson might break something off, right? We don't know. And I think that's the wild card here. And I think that Vegas doesn't even know that, right? Based on his one pass thrown at him, he looked like he got pushed out of bounds, and it looks like, oh, he's not going to have effect in this league. If I had to look at him from one play, right? Oh, he might not be big enough, strong enough. I don't think that's the case. Me being a JMO fan too doesn't help, but I think that you get him in space, he's gone. So I think that we get to 31, and I just don't know if the Vikings get to 27 or 30. It's in Detroit. I think it's us in this regard. Now, I want you both to let me know, should I pick the other way based on my superstition? Every time I pick the other team, we win. I'm just curious on that.
Well, you already picked.
Wait, did you?
You already picked. You already said Lions. So doesn't that? Wouldn't that like?
I could flip it for my superstition, and the final offer could be.
Yeah, it's once the show is over. He has until the end of the show to submit.
Yeah,
his
I got
final
time.
answer.
I just want I don't want to jinx us, right? Like I just want to make sure the team comes first.
Well, look, I don't know. Like go with your gut.
All right, well, I'm gonna go with the gut and go with the Lions, like I said.
So, I'm obviously I'm going Lions. I think this game could be very similar to the last one. So, like, I don't know if you guys remember the score of the last game, but it was 28-24 Vikings. The Lions literally led all game until the fourth quarter, where they didn't score at all, and Minnesota put up 2 touchdowns to pretty much take the game. I think this one will be a little more back and forth, but I'm gonna go 30-27 Lions.
Okay, so we're close. We're right there. Yeah.
Money Badger for the walk off.
Wow, Money Badger at home. I like Money Badger at home. He's coming off a big game, confident.
I just think I think
it's contagious.
I think Minnesota's going to kind of have something to prove. I mean, they're winning, but like they haven't been like super impressive. And it's a division game, and I mean, especially if you're a 1 point underdog to a team that has 7 losses, like
Is Dalvin Cook healthy? That's my question.
I feel like we had the same question in the first matchup, and like it didn't matter. Like it's still like he's still Dalvin Cook. Like as long as he's available, it's a problem.
Yeah. And Kirk 1 o'clock games does much better than night games, primetime games too.
Yeah. I don't know. I'll have to look up. Like, I wonder what his record is against the Lions.
Maybe James Houston can rip his legs off too. Dude, I mean, when he got there, he twisted like I've never seen. It was like a tornado sucked up his legs. Like there was no. I'm shocked. Trevor Lawrence walked off the field. I'm not gonna lie. I saw that thing. I go, oh, he's done.
I was shocked he finished.
Shocked.
Finished the game at all.
Shocked.
But yeah, I think it's still going to be a shootout. I don't think you get Justin Jefferson like that twice. I don't think you like limit him that way 2 games in a row. And then let's not forget like potential Hawkinson revenge game.
Yeah, but like, and so my argument with that is if Hawkinson wasn't really liked in the locker room, there'd be a lot of guys trying to get after him. I don't know, but if he wasn't like a fit, there could be guys be like, I'm gonna get him. I don't know. There could be that too.
Deshaun Elliott.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Would not want to be on the receiving end of that.
But yes, revenge games we just talked about with Chark Miko earlier. Yeah, that's something I didn't think about. So sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying Lions 35-28.
What? You don't want to go to 40 at this point? Just go to 40.
Well, no, dude. I wanted to say 24 or 21, but I was like, dude, Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, like with those weapons. But the last time we played, like this defense in the last 6, what is it like? Again, Miko and I talked about this last week. Like you hate to keep adding filters until you get the result you want with statistics, but at the same time, our defense just keeps playing better and better and better. In Dan Campbell's press conference this morning, he said that they started the season with this like complex defense that he thought the team was ready for, and they just weren't. And so they during the bye week they took it back to basics, and then he said as every game after the bye, the defense has gotten more and more comfortable. And as the guys got more comfortable, they've started adding more and more of that complexity that they wanted to have originally. And it seems like the defense against Jacksonville was the closest thing that they have played so far that was the defense that they wanted to implement at the beginning of the season, where they're masking coverages. They're just doing tricks to like keep the offense guessing. And obviously, Minnesota is not Jacksonville. They have much more weapons, but at the same time, like this defense keeps getting better and better and better. Like Pascal was out. I feel like I don't know where Kaminsky was playing, but like Pascal was definitely out at the last Minnesota game. And 100%. And so, but I don't know if Kaminsky was or not. But Hutchinson definitely.
No, but Kaminsky didn't have his swatting wand. It was giant hand, like that he blocked that pass. Like, dude. I just think Minnesota is seeing a completely different defense than the one they faced earlier in the season. Like 100% completely different defense. And so I think I stopped by the Viking sub and I clicked on one of the threads. The thread about the Lions being favorites, and there were a lot of very salty Vikings fans in there, but at the same time, almost on every one of those comments was another comment from like a reasonable Vikings fan being like they are the hottest offense in the league and our defense is shaky right now. And so I think if we can do what we did against Jacksonville and just pile on and our defense can just get 1 or 2 stops, we'll win. And I know that's asking a lot. I know it's a tall order, but because they got Pat Peterson and
Smith, Danielle Hunter. Yeah, they got some
Yeah,
guys.
They got
I
players.
just think like if they can keep, I mean, even their own fans are like, our defense has been very inconsistent lately, very inconsistent. And I think if we can take advantage of that, while at the same time firing on all cylinders like we have been on offense, then, and the players believe. Because I think that's really what it,
Asterisk, asterisk
gonna,
players execute.
Asterisk do their jobs.
I think that's going to be the
That's a
intangible.
t-shirt.
Like,
I gotta make it for Miko.
I think this team is like, no, they can't beat us. No. And I don't know.
Well, there is one Achilles heel that has shown up 2 weeks in a row for this defense. And I think Minnesota has the quarterback and the players to exploit it. And it's the slot.
Okay.
Buffalo, Isaiah McKenzie killed us from the slot, and Christian Kirk killed us from the slot. And Justin Jefferson is a receiver that can line up anywhere. Thielen can line up in the slot. Hawk can flex on the slot. Keith Osborne is a guy that
wonder. Adam Thielen. Hate that.
So
dude.
He hasn't done much. But I don't want him to have a big game against us. That's a good
well, that's what happened again. That's what happened in the first matchup. So, no, John, I hear you. Like, and I definitely agree that this defense is very different. Romeo will be back more than likely. You have James Houston coming in on pass rush situations.
Josh Pascal.
Aiden seems to be Pascal's dude on the sack that. Hold on, really quick, to double back to the sack that James Houston got. Houston got the sack, but Pascal blew his man up.
Oh wow!
Like,
okay.
Go back and watch that play. If it's not for the fact that James Houston has some freaky bend, Pascal was getting that sack. That was his sack to have. But this defense is different. It is restacked and retooled. So, no, you're not wrong. That could definitely be a deciding factor in this one.
All right. Well, I think we got the predictions in. I think we covered everything. John, thank you for hopping in. I know.
Thank you for staying late.
Limited time. Yeah, we tried. Miko, anything else you want to add in before we wrap up?
No, it's a long pod, but obviously, it's first time the three of us have been together in a couple weeks. So
in a minute.
You guys got a lot. I think some good stuff. Hopefully you guys are having a great time in the comment section.
I'm sure they are. Yeah.
So this has been great.
All right. Yeah. So having said that, go Lions, go Rodrigo. So hop over to Questionable Tees. To check out our new Rodrigo stuff, normal Rodrigo stuff. But anyways, please follow, subscribe, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Please. We support all you guys. We thank you for joining in the comments. We thank for everything, all the comments. I want to thank my fam. I want to thank you, Miko. I want to thank you, John, and everybody who supports us as we're continuing to grow in all facets of this. That's all I got. Miko?
Oh, yeah. Got to thank the fam. Huge shout out to my wife, my girls. Again, thank you to everybody that's in the comment section, everybody that's liking, sharing, and just engaging with our content and, making this a fun show to do. So, yeah, huge thanks to you guys.
And Gian wrapping up. You can wrap it up quick and we'll hop out.
And I want to thank, I want to echo Mika, and I want to steal his line. I want to thank my girls, especially my wife here, who's like babysitting our daughter. We're gonna miss her sleep window here real quick. So
get off.
Thank you for everyone. Thank you.
Go Lions. Go Lions. All right, you guys. Have a good night. Love y'all. This is Questionable Podcast out.